So folks, the next stop on our journey was to a moshav called Yachini. Yachini, actually it's in the Torah. The family of Yachin has called Mishpachas Yachini, and there is a moshav which is set up, which is actually very close to Gaza. It's just off of Kfar Aza, and this moshav did come under attack on Simchat Torah, and has already a remarkable story. Is a Taimani moshav, and it was built up from the ground. It's agricultural, has a number of businesses. It's a flourishing moshav, and when it came under attack, we got to hear a little bit from Moran, who grew up in Eilat. She's the mother of two. She lives in Yachini. She's a community organizer. She serves on the local council, and she describes the events of how they became aware of the fact that there were terrorists entering their moshav, and you can just walk in and seeing that and knowing. And she described all the people who were affected, all the people who were killed in the moshav.
ועברו לבית השכן, והיה שם חבר בן 60 שיצא כדי להכניס את אמא שלו הביתה, אמא מבוגרת, והם פשוט ממש הוציאו אותו להורג, זיזו אותו אחורה ועשו מה שעשו. בבית הזה, איפה מאיר? זה מאיר גר פה. שלום מאיר. מאיר חי פה בבית, הייתה להם אמא מבוגרת שממש בערב סוכות נפטרה. לא ישבו 7 אפילו, קברו אותה. היינו פה 2 שעות ונגמר. ושבוע אחר כך היה להם פה גם אסון וגם נס. הגיעו לפה מחבלים, לצערי ירו למוות באח של מאיר, קוראים לו אליצור, הוא היה גרקן, ממש ירו בו פה ועוד הלכו אחריו לוודא שבאמת סיימו את העבודה. והמחבלים נכנסו פה לבית הזה, ירו כאן בכניסה, שאלתם אותי אם יש מה זה אחורים, זה קליעים. והם נכנסו לבית ולא ידעו שיש בתוך הבית עוד 4 נשים. 3 אחיות של מאיר, והעוזרת, המטפלת הסיעודית של האמא. והן נכנסו לתוך הממד, והם שמעו את המחבלים כבר בבית, אז הם לא סגרו את הדלת של הממד, הם פחדו. והם פשוט ישבו בממד כשהמחבל יורה בבית וצועק מנהנה, מפה, ועקר דלת, נכון? ואת המשקוף של חדר אחר. ופשוט לא נכנס לממד, והם ישבו בממד עם דלת פתוחה וחלון פתוח, וכל הקרב קרה פה מסביב.
But then we got to hear about the Giborim, the heroes, and she introduced Topaz, who's a family member of the place that we were standing. Actually, Topaz was just the story is truly incredible. He is a mefaked pluga, so he's in charge of a whole a number of units together. And he really a trained soldier. When he got up in the morning, he heard the helicopters nearby, so knew something was actually local, more than just the rockets that were coming in. He drove to the front to the moshav, and he saw already a attachment of terrorists approaching. So he drove back in, called to his friend, and he didn't have his regular gun on him because he was on chofesh, but he called he had a pistol, which is not useful against automatic weapons with hundreds of thousands of rounds, which is what the terrorists came in with. But he and his friend drove out to try to stop them coming in. As they got to the middle of the moshav, there were 7 terrorists already at the entrance, and they saw the terrorists started shooting at them. And they blew the tires of the car, and the car became riddled with bullets. And he realized that if he didn't reverse, he would probably be killed on the spot. But and this is the most powerful thing, is that as he saw them and he realized he had to reverse, his family house was to the second one on the left, which means that as he decided to reverse to try to get more forces to save the moshav, he knew he was leaving his family open to these terrorists, which is what happened. And just that moment was just such a powerful moment to think about what went through his head. His whole family was all together in the house. Why? Because his grandmother had just passed away. Just on Hoshana Rabbah, and she'd been buried, and the whole family come together because they're going to sit shiva together afterwards. And so it was his uncle, his aunts, the whole family was together, and they killed his uncle. But all his aunts and the rest of the family was hiding in the cheder atum. They were hiding in the miklat. and they were so scared it happened so fast they didn't have a chance to close the door or close the window. As the terrorists came through the house and they started screaming, "Is there anyone here? Is there anyone here?" And they remained frozen in their spot. They didn't open the door further and didn't find them. And Baruch Hashem, they were left. It was just remarkable miracles. And he describes how he called the police, and the police, the lines were cut. He called the head of the southern command, because he has a senior position, and he said, "All our forces are trying to hold off Kfar Aza. There are hundreds of terrorists there." So he called up the chain of command to try to get them forces there to be able to support, to prize off the enemy. And thank God, within half an hour they're able to figure it out, and they managed to extract the terrorists and kill the terrorists from the Moshav. There were 6 people who did die in it, but it really is a story of Gvura. And after he spoke, his grandfather came and spoke and said, when we came to this Moshav, we were from Yemen, we had nothing. There was 1 tap of water which 6 families shared. That was all we really had. And he said, we always build from the ground upwards. And what's remarkable is he says, with the emunah and the strength that we have today, we will rebuild. We have the strength to go on, because looking at this young man and seeing his gvura, seeing his strength and his heroism, I know we will go on. It was really a remarkable moment of tremendous pride in Am Yisrael.
זה האנשים שמאמינים בבורא עולם, זה השמחת תורה שאתה בא לקבל ואתה צמא לקום בשעה מוקדמת של הבוקר בשבת בשביל להגיע לבתי כנסת, בשביל להגיע לשמחת תורה, בשביל לשמוח בתורה. זה מה שאני חושב שהציל פה את המושב. והאמונה שלנו והביטחון שלנו בצבא, וזה שעם ישראל הוא עם חזק. העם היהודי הוא עם חזק. לא משנה מה קרה לנו בכל ההיסטוריה שלנו, אם זה מאברהם אבינו בתנ"ך, אם זה מהשואה, אם זה ממלחמות ישראל, אנחנו יודעים שאין לנו ארץ אחרת. بعد ما بتصيرين الجول الجول أربعة وخوضكم شهين بعد الشهر بعد يوم